Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing and discussing Amy and Roger's Epic Detour by Morgan Matson. This is my first book that I've read by Morgan Matson. I put the book down and I was like, where's a map? Where's my car? I want to get in it and I want to go on this road trip. It made me just want to go out there and like seize life and just explore and just go on an adventure and not plan anything, just get in my car and drive. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. This book is about a young girl. Her name is Amy. Her mom moves out to Connecticut right after her dad passes away in a car accident, and Amy stays behind to finish her junior year. This is the summer between her junior and senior year, and she is getting ready to move out to Connecticut to be with her mom. So her mom plans this cross-country road trip for Amy to get the car from California to Connecticut. She enlists the help of one of her best friends, one of her mom's best friends' sons, to help escort Amy across the country because she's a 16, 17-year-old girl. Her mom's not going to want her traveling all the way across the country by herself, and ironically, Roger has to go to Philadelphia for the summer to be with his dad, so it worked out perfectly that way. Her mom basically plans out the most boring cross-country road trip ever. Their stopping points are New Mexico, Oklahoma, Indiana, and Ohio. They're boring Midwestern states. Roger didn't realize that her mom had this whole trip planned out already. He thought they were just going to be able to take off. So he's like, oh, I thought this would be a whole lot more fun than what your mom has planned. He suggests that Amy break the rules a little bit and take a detour. That's really all I want to say about the plot. And the author actually went on this road trip. So she took pictures while she was on the road trip and she put them in the book. So it's like an interactive story, and I loved that. I thought that was so cool. And there's music playlists in there, and there are postcards and like funny little doodles. It just makes it so much more interactive and enjoyable, and I find it more fun to read. So I loved that she did that. For those of you who haven't read this book yet, you shouldn't stick around. I'm going to talk about some things about the book. So I guess the first thing I want to talk about is Amy's character development. In the beginning of the book, I understand that her dad had just passed away and that she blamed herself entirely. She was not forgiving herself. She was not getting along with her mom, and her brother was really struggling with substance abuse. So Amy was kind of really alone going through grief of losing her father. I really wanted to be like, it wasn't your fault. Some things you just can't control. Sometimes things just happen. She was really kind of like self-centered and whiny and just like complained a lot in the beginning of the book, and not to the point to where I was annoyed with her at any point. She grew so much throughout the book. She started to really think about other people and other people's feelings and how her actions impact other people's. At one point when I was like, you better get on that road right now and be here in Connecticut ASAP. She said to her mom, no, I am on a journey. I need to do this for myself. I need to do this to heal. I will be there when I get there, and you're just gonna have to deal. Go you, girl. Her mom was just always so hard on her and let her brother slide a lot. She always like disappointed her mom, and I was so glad that she was finally sticking up for herself and finally being like, no, I need to do this for me. I would have been the same way because I can be a little stubborn as well. I liked that at the end she realized that her mom had also been alone in Connecticut by herself. At least Amy was still somewhere that was familiar, at home by herself in a really empty house, and that had to have been extremely depressing. But her mom was in a completely new environment, without friends, without family. And when Amy finally realized that, it was obvious that she was finally learning to think of other people. She's not the only one that's grieving. I felt so bad for her and her brother. People assume that when you're twins, you're attached to your sibling, but they weren't close at all. Amy was the goody two-shoe child who was much higher expectations from her parents, whereas Charlie was a rebel and a partier and did whatever he wanted and didn't really care, and his parents let him slide on a lot of stuff. I know how that feels, but I was glad that there was a point in the story when she started to try to heal that relationship and started to try to move forward. When she was breaking into his rehab center, I was like, this cannot go well. So illegal. So illegal. I mean, I give her props. I didn't think it was a good idea to sneak into the rehab center through a window. She drops out the window and her and Roger are heading back to the car, and they notice that there are a lot more staff members outside than there were before. And then they start running to the car, and they get in the car and they take off. You all better hope that they don't call the police on your behinds, because you're trespassing on private property. Chapters where they're on the lonely road in Nevada, I would have been freaking out if I was on a road where I saw absolutely no civilization. Hundreds of miles between these itty bitty little like towns. I would have been freaking out. And they weren't. They were just kind of like indifferent to it. They were slightly alarmed, but I would have been like freaking out. What if they broke down? What if they ran out of gas? And she was like, oh, well, that's what AAA is for. What if they can't get to you? I would have been, just like Amy, pretty apprehensive to get in a car with some kid that I don't really know, who I haven't seen since I was like a kid. What do we talk about? What do we do? Because you're with the person constantly, you don't have a break from this person. They literally never separated. They didn't even get to go to separate hotel rooms at night. I liked that it showed that they started to pick up on the nuances of each other. They showed how much time these two actually had to spend together. I'm impressed that they never really got in a fight. No, I can't really remember any time where they got into like a fight. That's impressive, to spend that many days together and not fight about anything. And they went from staying in these podunk motels and a tent in the Yosemite National Park and then a back seat in a Walmart parking lot to this gorgeous, beautiful estate in Kentucky. And I was like, too bad you couldn't just stay there, because I wouldn't want to leave. They stopped in a lot of different towns where Roger had friends from college. Well, obviously they went to Colorado Springs, where he went to college. They went to Wichita, Kansas, where he had a friend. They went to Kentucky, where his girlfriend was, his ex-girlfriend. And they got to experience all like this local cuisine. That's just the way to do it. Ooh, but I did like, because I'm a Midwestern girl. I was born and raised in freaking Flatlands in Illinois. And when they got to Sonic, they were like, what is this place? What do we do? And they were like, do I order through this thing? And they're like, what is a cherry limeade? And I was like, how do you not know what a cherry limeade is? Do they not have cherry limeades out west? Like, what is that? If you don't know what Sonic is, you drive up in your car and you pull into this like carport and you order from your car. And you order into this like speaker box and they bring your food out to you, to your car, and you eat in your car. And they were so confused by it. And I thought that was hysterical. But they did drive through Illinois very, very briefly on their way to Kentucky. And I really liked when she had like nothing to say about it. What did she say? Still pretty big. I wouldn't consider Illinois to be big at all. She was prairie state and residents are called Illinoisans, which is awesome. I don't know why that's awesome. And she kept an eye out for log cabins, but she didn't see any. At least not on the side of the interstate. We don't have log cabins here. None that I really, unless you live on like one of the very, very few lakes in Illinois. Maybe you see a log cabin then. It's like half of a notebook page about Illinois, whereas some of the other states have like a full page, because there's just nothing interesting that happens here. Nothing. She didn't get close enough to Chicago to have anything really interesting to do. I heard some people say that they think that their relationship, Roger and Amy's, kind of progressed really quickly. Like they went from not really knowing each other to sleeping together at the end of the story. Like I said, they spent hours together in a car, and think about all the things that they experienced together. He helped her get over and open up about her father. She was with him when he was having his whole like relationship issue with Hadley, and she helped him move on from that. So they really impacted each other and helped each other with such pivotal parts of their lives that I didn't really think it progressed quickly. They just were so cute together throughout the rest of the book that I was so happy that they got together. One thing that did annoy me, that she just like dropped Roger off in Philadelphia and then she drove home. Stupid cat, Matson. If you've seen previous videos, he's annoying, like, because I'm reading it on a Nook and it said I had like 30 pages left and then the story was over. And I was like, wait a minute, what's the other 30? We're coming to the end of the story. She dropped him off. What more could there possibly be? Maybe some falling out with her mom or something. And then it was over. And I was like, what are my last 30 pages? Turns out there was an excerpt from Since You've Been Gone at the end of the Nook book, and I didn't know that. And so I thought I had another 30 pages to read, and I was super excited because I didn't want the story to end, and then I didn't. They weren't with this story, and I was really sad. I was bummed. Odie, say hi! Say hi! Say hi! That's not a very nice hi. But I think that's really all I have to say about this book, other than I pretty much want to go on this road trip. I just really want to go. I was very, very jealous that I was not included. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I will talk to you guys really soon. Bye! I just spit everywhere.
Just watch.
I liked the Sonic inserts because Sonic is a weird place, I'm not gonna lie. Who thinks of a drive-in restaurant?
Believe me, just watch. Don't believe me, just watch. Uptown funk you up. Uptown funk you up. Uptown funk you up.
Gosh. Gosh. That's $50 for a t-shirt. Limited edition, let's do some simple edition. $50 for a t-shirt, let's do some ignorant. That's your grandma's coat. Amy and Morgan's epic. Amy and Morgan. Ugh. This title is so hard for me to get right.
Bounce, 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 bounce. Let me get that.
Did I say it's the end of her senior year? What am I saying? Am I even making sense? Hold on. Get your thoughts together.
It's the freaking weekend, baby. I'm about to have me some fun.
So those of you who haven't read the story, peace out. We're going to talk about the rest of the book. That was weird.